Okay, hello everyone. Ralph McFall from Dharma Publishing, and we're here with the third of our 4 episodes on alternatives to stories. And again, in this episode, I want to work some more with some concepts from Mastering Successful Work, the second book in the Skillful Means series. And there's several chapters in there. It's one of the main themes of the text that talk about working with awareness, concentration, and energy as a kind of a triad for how our mental physical organism works. And this is kind of parallel to training in meditative concentration in traditional Buddhist teaching. And that is like, in this case, we initially, we say, oh, we're going to practice mindfulness or awareness. Then we're trying to habituate ourselves to connecting, to sensory experience, connecting to what we're doing, so paying attention to that. But if you want to go a little farther, then to develop the power of your mental faculty, then you want to look at how that faculty operates. And in terms of things that we can do in our working life, in our daily life, Tarthang Tulku has broken it down into these 3 components that we look at: how the level of awareness that we have, the level of concentration we have, and the level and type of energy that we have, and we see how to learn how to keep those at a high level and adjust them, you could say, for the task at hand, because things require different levels and types of energy. Some things are more awareness, some things are more concentration. So if we become internally knowledgeable about how to manipulate and regulate these factors, then we'll find we have a lot of agency in determining, how our day turns out and how successful and productive we can be. So there are a number of charts in this book that talk about the different properties of awareness, concentration, and energy, and their lack. And there's also the suggestion in one chapter that you copy a chart, so you check periodically throughout the day and you note the level that you have. And as with most things, if you bring awareness to something, it will naturally kind of improve. So just by noticing and making up your own internal scale of like, is this a 10 on energy or is this a 5 on energy, then you become more tuned up, and it's natural to want to go to more refined levels. So for example, there's some small charts talking about qualities associated with each of the properties. So for example, concentration, it says, these qualities correlate with concentration. So positively, if you are devoted, involved, studious, engaged, contemplative, thorough, focused, intent, steadfast, loyal, resolute, or persistent. So those are properties arising from concentration. And oppositely, lack of concentration, you may experience wandering, being wandering, restless, unfocused, dazed, bewildered, lost, chaotic, indecisive, unstable, or tentative. It's not hard to figure out which side of the equation you want to be on here. But you can see that you could have a story about, my life is like this, and so I feel lost, and I don't know what to do, I'm indecisive, I can't figure out what to do. And we tend to attribute it to circumstances, right? So we say, oh, it's because of this, because of that. Or internal properties that feel fixed. It's because I'm like this, or because this happened to me, etc. But here it's saying, well, really you just need to do a little training. Start focusing, renew your focus, and connect, through concentration. And those properties will clear up, and they'll actually turn into their opposites. So it's actually pretty cool. And in terms of how far you can go with it, in the section where Tarthang Tulku talks about making your own chart, he says if you can work so you can consistently manifest a 9 or a 10 level on all 3 factors, he says you'll be very close to what Buddhist tradition calls samadhi. which is a very deep meditative achievement. So you can't quite get there because you're running around doing your work, you know, but you're right there, or as you've learned how to operate these factors. And traditionally, the big deal with that is that that's just making the mind into a superior tool, you could say, or a powerful tool. But you need that powerful tool to penetrate into the deeper delusions in our minds, or even in the external world, the deeper aspects of problems that we face. So I'll close with a little story from my own experience where this kind of approach helped me to reframe something. So I have, for over 30 years, I've been running a printing press for our organization. And I wish I could show you a picture, but we don't have a picture. So our presses feed sheets of paper, not a roll. So there's a very complex mechanism with a lot of little suckers pulling things up and little things blowing and things moving back and forth to pick up these lightweight big sheets of paper and one by one move them into the press. And sometimes it works really great. And sometimes with very light papers or just something is different that day, it stops repeatedly. So you can't get even one or two sheets into the machine without it stopping again. So when this happens, it can be really intensely frustrating because you can't even start, you know, or you about to start and you get stopped again and again. So I have lots of experience with frustration with this. But one time when I was studying this material, then this was happening, and I feel myself irritation starting to build, pointlessly, but nonetheless. So irritation starting to build, and then I stopped and I thought, you know, my impulse is like assertive. So I thought, I'm trying to put more energy into this situation than it will accept because it's not going. And I don't know what to do. So I need less energy, more awareness, you know, and that was a real shift. So it's just like, okay, lighten up, stop, you know, this frustration forcing energy, because you have nowhere to put that energy. So just dial it down, back off, take a broader view, literal broader view of the mechanism, etc. And then pretty shortly I figured out, you know, a little adjustment to make. But the thing I really liked about it was that it was so, it was kind of like refreshingly impersonal, you know. It didn't require me to say, I shouldn't be so angry, why do I have this pattern, I should have gotten over this a long time ago, you know, or any of those things. It's just like, hey, you know, you're just trying to, what you're doing doesn't fit the situation. So adjust the factors and you'll get a greater sense of ease, and you're more likely to come up with a solution too. So anyway, very practical stuff. So I hope you enjoy that, and that stimulates you to take a look at this book, which has dozens and dozens of exercises of all different types. It's a real treasure trove. And I hope you'll join us for another episode. We're going to have one more of these talking about time, space, and knowledge. Okay, thank you.